Hey, what up YouTube? It's your boy Cosmic. Now welcome to my channel, The Reader's Block 21. Today I'm going to be talking about one of the best trilogies I've ever read by one of the best writers I've ever come across. Now, it was published in pens-ish, if that makes sense, and it is of course the Morpheus Road, and I am of course talking about D J Michale. Now, in the Morpheus Road, there are three parts to it. You have the light, the black, and the blood. Now, let's begin with that first bit. The light consists of a young Marshall Seaver, a young nerdy kid who likes to draw, put a pin in that, who lives with his father because his mother passed away a couple of years prior, also put a pin in that, and who has a best friend named Cooper, who is the jock, the guy that gets him in trouble time. Cooper has a sister called Sydney. Now Marshall, after a fight, throws something called a crucible. Why you'd throw something called a crucible at a wall, I don't know, but in fairness to Marshall, he didn't know it was a crucible at the time, so, you know, at a wall, and he starts seeing these things happen. For example, he went upstairs, came back downstairs from the apartment that he shares with his father, and realized the blood is gone. Now, he thinks he saw it disappear, although it was there. It starts playing with his mind, and it also starts playing with the reader's mind. He decides to go and find Cooper, you know, in the lake house that Cooper usually goes to. Finds out that Cooper's been gone for a week, maybe because Cooper's cooling off a bit as well. He's also in a bit of a tiff, you know, as the kids say nowadays. He's in a bit of a tiff. So he goes to the lake house to find Cooper. In the end, we get this shocking ending, which you're like, nah, that cannot be happening, nah. But it is happening, which leads us nicely into the second part of the Morpheus trilogy. I've got that one here. I didn't have the light, but I've got the blood and the black with me. Now, the reason I got these with me is because this is a very fantastic read. If you pick it up, you won't want to put it down. The one thing I will warn you though, don't read it in the dark, because some crazy stuff happens. Some crazy stuff happens at the end of the light. Some really crazy stuff, and just thinking about it even years later, it just gives you the creeps. Now let's get back to the trilogy with the second part of the trilogy, which is the black, this one here, and this one is from Cooper's point of view. Now Cooper, as we find out, is in the black, and he's trying to fight Damien, because Damien is forcing him to get this weapon called a Perlo, or Perlo. I'll put the writing on here so you can tell me how to pronounce it. And Cooper's like, well, no, I'm not going to help you. And then Damien's like, well, I'm going to torture everybody that you know and love until you do. And, you know, and that is where the blood ends. And that's where the blood adventures continue. Cooper is learning about the Morpheus Road. He's trying to control all these abilities that have just sprung out from him, and you know, some crazy stuff happens, and he's trying not to end up in the blood, which is this latter part here, this one, the blood, which eventually we find out Cooper and Marsh do meet, and they're trying to fight this villain, if you will. They're trying to fight Damien, and they do have help from two very surprising people. The first one is really gonna surprise you. I'm not gonna tell you. See, I nearly told you that. The first one is very surprising, and the other one is also very surprising, but in a good way. If you've read the actual Pendragon books, you will realize that the person, the second someone, is related to that. I like how the blood joins all the books together. And they're trying to protect all of them, all the crucibles, and it all just goes belly up. It is crazy. Okay. The ending is all very well, all is sorted, and Marshall has to make a very, very big decision that a 16-year-old should not have to make, because he has to choose between being with his friend or the other option. Now, the characters in this book are very relatable. The plot is always progressing. It's always intriguing. It's a thriller. Obviously, you think you've done you think you've uncovered one uncovered. That's funny. You think you've uncovered one bit of the plot, and then it leads you on to the next, and it wasn't something you were expecting, and things get creepier and claustrophobic, and you start thinking you're seeing things yourself, and you start thinking that you're feeling, you start thinking you're seeing things, or you're not seeing things that are there. It messes with your mind, which is brilliant, which I love. I like a very well written book. Okay, I love a very well written book, well rounded, well researched. Once you pick this up, you won't be able to put it down. It is, and I don't mean that because turning off the light is going to make you feel creepy. I mean, you want to know what's happening next, and what's happening after that, and what's happening after that. So yeah, I would urge you very much to pick this up, and it is not a branded video. So everything I say is basically what my thoughts of it, and what I thought about the trilogy. I keep looking at the book there. It's just basically what I thought of the trilogy and everything within it. Now, as a this book does not have an age group in which you should be reading it. It says 10 and up, but I don't want a 10-year-old reading this book, because they won't sleep for the next 3 days, and then you got a screaming child. But anyway, yeah, whatever it is, if you're a young adult, go pick this book up and just read it, and it is amazing. I promise you, you're gonna enjoy it, and I defy anybody to read this and not enjoy it and get creeped out and everything that it entails. So with that, I will leave you with this question. Which is your favorite horror book, or which one is your favorite DJ Michale book, and what did you think about it when you read it? Please use spoiler tags in the comments. You don't want to spoil it for somebody else, because it is a fantastic read. The only other book I've ever read and liked this much was the only book I've ever read and liked this much by Connie Willis, The Blackout and All Clear. That's another one I will do in another video, because that's another one where it is a fantastic read. So I leave you with that question in mind. What is your favorite book? What is your favorite Pendragon book? What is your favorite book? Which one's your favorite horror? What's your favorite book to read? Which one do you go back and read again and again and again and still find something different in? So leave the comment here. Leave your answer in the comments below. I will be going through them, and maybe I'll have a recommendation from one of you guys. I'll read it now. I'll do my thoughts and review on it. Now, with that said, I do bid you a hobby ho.